Hey guitar players, today I'm going to give you just a couple of little tips to hopefully help you with your bar chords. They are famously a nightmare. If I'm honest, they never really get easy. You still know about it if you have to use them a lot. But there's a couple of things that will hopefully help you avoid too much discomfort, at least. So, a lot of the time when people first start playing these, everything looks a little bit contorted and this kind of thing, and there's a lot of tension, and it's very hard to kind of get this going. What we have to think about primarily is how to keep this first finger straight. This is really quite important to the thing, I think, is how straight you can get this in terms of parallel to the fret and that type of thing. So one thing I would suggest is kind of forget about the guitar for a minute, get rid of that, come back to that later, but just sit there like this, keep your shoulder and your elbow nice and relaxed and roughly at like a 90-degree angle, and this is like more of a sort of normal position that we might sit in all the time. And then with your first finger in your fretting hand, just point to the ceiling, okay, like this. Remember, we're not playing the guitar right now, we're just pointing to the ceiling, and get that in a place where you can kind of keep that finger nice and straight, not going off like this or like that or anything. And then once you're happy with that, okay, grab your guitar again, and now keep that finger where it was and bring your guitar to your finger, not the other way around. So don't move this, don't do this, just kind of keep that where it was and position your guitar next to that finger like that. Don't even press down just yet, we'll get there. But now you'll see that this finger is kind of able to lie on the fretboard like that, and it's able to sort of stay relatively straight. Okay, so now you can press down and you might get this, you might still get some of this going on. The other thing to watch out for here is quite often the strings kind of fall in little gaps between your knuckles or in like a really squishy, fleshy bit of your finger, which isn't going to help. One of the things I've noticed that my finger does is it kind of rolls over onto the left, so it's on rather than this bit, it's kind of rolled over and it's the bony bit of my finger that's actually pressing down on the strings like this. So it's not this. I'll try and get close so you can actually see. It's not this, it's this. But the important thing about the finger is that it's still straight. You might have to do a little bit of wiggling around just to kind of figure out what works best. And then if this is straight, then it's just a case of strength, right? So some of these things we have to just give time to and allow the muscles in your fingers to kind of build up strength, which can be a little bit frustrating. That can take a bit of time, but you'll get there, and you'll actually get there quicker if you do this on an acoustic guitar as well, because you're working hard. And what will happen is you'll work on here, and then you go grab an electric guitar, and you'll just suddenly be able to do it, which is quite nice. So try that, keep that nice and straight, and maybe just spend a couple of weeks like that. Don't worry about the rest of it. But then when you're ready, start piecing together the rest of the chord, and find run this test with all these initial shapes that you need to know. So it's hard work, but it's so worth it because the rewards are enormous. Because if you know your major and your minor on these two string groups, so with your root note on the E string and then your root note on the A string, if you know all of these, then there's really no limit to the amount of songs that you can play. You can find them all, provided you know where to go. That's another lesson. That's another adventure. But try that. The other thing I always find that happens to me is, again, this thumb muscle, which causes problems over here in the picking hand, but in this situation it causes quite a lot of problems in my fretting hand. If I'm pressing too hard with my thumb, that causes my hand to cramp up, and then 2.5-3 minutes into a song, my hand just wants to fall off. Okay, so one thing I'll try and do sometimes is just remind myself that the strength wants to come from your fingers, not from your thumb. Okay? If you're pressing with your thumb, that's going to cause problems. So, a very simple test. Try and find an angle here. Very simple test. Take your thumb away, and you can still get the notes out. You see? So, like, this is without my thumb. This is with my thumb. No difference. Okay, so the thumb is just there for stability and comfort, but you don't want to be pressing down with it. So when you're playing, just check, prod that muscle. Is it relaxed or is it tense? You know, and then do what you need to do. Relax it. Even take it off the fretboard. Play like this for a bit. You know, and eventually, hopefully, you know, these tips might be a little bit useful. They might help you kind of get through this a little bit. It's a difficult journey, and I fully empathise with the the struggle. So, but let me know how you get on, and yeah, hopefully that'll be useful. Cheers.